Hey guys, you are talking to Ree, where I come to talk to you about what I have either read in the blogs, watched on TV, or heard in these streets. It is about what I have watched on TV. We are doing 90 Day Fiancé the other way, season 4, episode 8. This was a pretty interesting episode. Yeah, it had a couple of turns. Some of the stories didn't give us too much, and some of the stories I was like, whoa. So we will get to it shortly. If you are new to my channel, I hope you stick around. I do reviews on things. I talk about different topics. It's in the media, even though lately I've been doing a number of reviews. As stated, we are going to grow this channel together. I am loving the feedback from you guys. I love the comments. Continue to comment, continue to like, continue to subscribe. I am just, loving all of this. You guys make me so happy. So let's go ahead and let's get to the review. Let's get Isabel and Gabriel out the way. Yes, we're going to get them out the way simply because I feel like the bulk of what we'll talk about in regards to them will be next episode. So this episode, of course, they go horseback riding with her parents, and they sit down and Gabriel proceeds to tell them that he is a trans man. They're taking it in, but you know what? Let's backpedal on this. Why is he using a app? That's what I want to know. Like, why is he using an app for the translation and this man speaks Spanish? Like, I'm so sick of that, especially because the app kept messing up. He's just like, oh, I don't want you guys to look at me differently. And the app says, I want you guys to look at me differently. And I'm looking like, wait, what? That's not what he said. But whatever. They'll put 2 and 2 together a little bit later. We'll get to them next week. We move on. Let's get Danielle and Johan out of the way. She moves to the Dominican Republic. They start arguing in a car. The end. No, like, I'm serious. Like, that's all their relationship consists of, is arguments. When do you guys have fun? It got to be only in the bedroom. It got to be like makeup sex or something, because all they do is argue. He picks her up from the airport. She has like about 5,000 luggages, and she's upset that he came with a 4-door and not a van. And she's just like, well, I didn't tell him that I would be carrying 11 luggages, but he should have known that I would have a lot because, I am staying for a longer period of time. No, sweetheart, you should have told him. What? Like, Danielle takes no accountability ever. And whatever. We move on. Okay, we get to Rish and Jen. Jen, now, while Danielle is moving to the DR, Jen is leaving her man's country. She has to head back to the U.S. We're on her way heading back. Rish decides to go ahead and formally propose. Again, yes, that's right. This is their second proposal. I'm sitting here and I'm looking like, wait, I thought you guys have been engaged for the last 2 years. What have you been telling me this whole time? Super confused. Her family is confused when she gets back home. They're just like, okay, he's clearly stalling because you guys should be further along. Agree with you, brother and sister-in-law and parents. That's exactly where they should be. But you know what? Jen, if you like it, I love it. Whatever. We move on. Debbie and Osama. Okay. We start off where they sit down for lunch and Osama doesn't take responsibility as well. Osama, you used that woman to get on TV. I don't know whether you thought we would hear more of those poems. I'm just not sure. Like, I'm not sure as far as what was your angle with all of this? You already told us that you have no plans of marrying her. But he sits down with Debbie and he says, listen, I thought that, I must have misinterpreted you, or, yeah, you told me that you were planning to move out here, but I thought you were like going to stay for 2 to 3 months because you got businesses back in the U.S. Maybe I heard things wrong. I don't know. Or maybe you told me that like earlier at the beginning of our relationship. I don't know. But you know what? I hope you don't think that I don't want to marry you, because I still want to marry you. And I'm looking like, hold on, Osama. That is not what you told the rest of us the first episode. You literally told us that you have no plans of marrying this woman. But now all of a sudden you want to marry her. Okay, fine, whatever. They go to the beach. They go on a camel, riding around on the beach. And you know what? She has a little bit of an insecurity because she's like, listen, like, I noticed that people are staring at us. kind of have her feeling some way. She's like, I don't want to ever embarrass you. Like, I hope I'm not an embarrassment to you. And he said some things that I thought was really beautiful, if only he really meant it towards her. Like, maybe if it came out of somebody else's mouth, like an actual love connection's mouth. But he did say some beautiful words where he's like, listen, like, when I'm with you, I don't see anybody else. I'm not concerned about anybody else. Because here's the thing. Like, if I get sick, if something happens to me, whatever it may be, the only people that would genuinely care about me would be my family and you. So therefore, I'm not focused on anyone else. And it was a beautiful message, you know. But yeah, I needed to come out of somebody else's mouth. We move on. Let's get to Chris and Jamie. So Chris no longer has to go to court, which is what I already told you guys last episode. No court is going to tell you at the last minute to show up there. So as confirmed, she doesn't have to go back, right? Yay. All right, great. So she plans this outdoorsy vacation in Colombia, this beautiful scenery, and it was really nice. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was super beautiful. She decides to propose to Jamie out there, and Jamie accepts. You know, they then go and they have like a nice little candlelight dinner, and as they are talking, she's just like, hey, will your family be at our wedding? And Jamie is like, no, my family will not be there. And she proceeds to tell us that basically her family is homophobic, that they say not so nice things about, you know, the LGBTQ community. And she hasn't told her family, even though she says that she wouldn't be surprised if her mother knows, considering that her mother has a lot of friends and her mother friends follows her social media, and she doesn't hide Chris from her social media. So if she knows, she knows. If she doesn't, she doesn't. But she does not plan to have that conversation with her anytime soon. Now, what I did appreciate was that Chris was not badgering her with it, even though she was like, man, like, I mean, I would be traumatized as a parent if I didn't know. But she also understood Jamie's standpoint, because she herself comes from a very conservative, small town in Alabama, where she herself did not come out to her family until recently. So she had to understand that, you know what, it's going to be on your time when you feel ready. And I just got to support you in the meantime. So that was beautiful to see. We move on. Let's get to the meat and the potato, guys. It is Nicole and my mood. Let me tell you something. Every episode I tell Nicole to go home. And I am at a point where I'm about to book a flight to Egypt. Head around, like literally look throughout Egypt just to make sure I don't see that short, treacherous Bob, okay? Because if I see Nicole out there, I'm going to drag her on the plane and bring her back to the States, send her back to California where she was staying. I can't take no more of this. Okay, let's start off. If you guys remember, Mahmoud's uncle told him, listen, you can't just tell her what to do regarding the Islamic culture. You have to go and teach it to her and show her the way. So he takes notes from his uncle and he decides to do so. So he's deciding to teach her how to be a Muslim wife and also just a Muslim person practicing Islam in their country. So they start off where he ties the hijab for her. And that hijab, like what I've noticed is that Mahmoud has no taste. And maybe if he found better fabric, because that material or the design of those, like what are petals, like flower petals, I don't know what it was, but it had her looking like the grandmother of Little Red Riding Hood. Okay, like Nicole is not some 70-year-old person. She's not your mother, Mahmoud. I'm sure you could have found a hijab that was a little bit more fashionable than the one that you found for her. You know, you're talking to a girl that is into fashion, you know, so she claims, right? Like she's into fashion. Her whole point of being out there was she met you at your uncle's, you know, fabric store. Okay, so why would you give her that nonsense fabric? Like, I don't know, but whatever. He has her wear that. Okay, he then goes and proceeds to teach her how to pray and so forth, teaching her how to wash her hand before the prayers, all of that good stuff. So then he's like, okay, let's go down to, I guess, like a pool or a resort out there in their area. And he hands her this swimsuit, which, oh my goodness, when I say suit, I mean emphasis on suit. It was literally covering from top to bottom, right? It looked like a scuba gear somewhat, but just not as scubaing. I mean, I don't know, right? So he hands it to her, and so then she asks him, "Hey, do I wear anything underneath this?" And he just walks away and gets annoyed and an attitude with her, and he walks up to the kitchen. And let me tell you what this tells me. My move fronts for the camera. That is what I've gathered through all of this. And that's what I've gathered over these last 8 episodes. All of that love, and the fake smile and the, okay, it's only because of these cameras. Let's be real. Like, he overpowers it and hopes that it will make him look a certain way because of these cameras. I do feel like away from the camera, he's a different person. Like, if they were like, truly, settled in, if she was truly settled in Egypt and there were no cameras, it would be a lot more attitudes from him. Like, I just don't believe that he is just love bombing her every 3 seconds. I don't believe that whatsoever. And the way that he got annoyed with that question tells me that, you know what, maybe your patience is just not as long as you are trying to convince us that it is. But we move on. They end up going down to the pool, and Nicole is literally miserable in it. She's looking in the mirror like, absolutely not. She decides not to wear the hijab part. She's like, I'm going to let my hair show. That's going to be that. He already got me wearing this atrocious suit. I'm going to let my hair show. And that's another thing. There are suits, right? Like, I looked on social media, and there are actually suits that are a little bit more fashionable once again. Like, just something that, you find this happy medium. I like, it's so, like, I don't know if he forgets that he's dealing with a young wife from a whole nother country. Like, who is in design? Like, there's no way that you thought that design and that style and just, I just don't know about that. But anyway, she comes out there. He's like, yeah, you look amazing. Just very fake, knowing good and well that he looked at her hair and was probably like, why the heck is your hair covered? But they proceed. He goes and they're talking. I mean, the both of them are talking, and she's telling him that you need to compromise, right? Because I've sacrificed a lot. You need to compromise. He's looking like, compromise. What does that word even mean? What? Tell me what it means. Let me look it up in the dictionary. Because, honey, I can't too much compromise, because if I compromise, then we're going to be miserable. And she's like, well, yeah, imagine how I feel. And you do need to compromise. You got this girl in this long suit. Why don't you come out covered head to toe? He goes and he says to her, well, at least, this is protecting you from the sun. It's actually making her even hotter. What are we talking about? She's covered from head to toe. She's even hotter. It's protecting her because Nicole is very pale and she looked like she would get sunburned very easily. But I'm sure she's burning up in that suit, right? And he gets to go and takes off his shirt and jumps directly up into the pool, just feeling all the greatness of everything. Okay, great, fine, fantastic. We come back from commercial and we see them arguing. And we're just like, what happened now, right? The usual. And Nicole tells us that apparently off camera, she went to go and ask him something like, just to check on him, seeing how he's doing. And he goes, as if you care. And she just loses it. She's like, you know what? I'm over it. Both of their patience is low. Both of them have a short fuse, is what I gather from this. Do I believe that he said that to her off camera? A part of me definitely does believe it, because my mood is putting on. Like, you can't tell me different, right? So I do believe that part. But I wish that she would have expressed that directly to him, because a part of me is like, why not say that directly to him when he's asking you, what did I do? What did I do? You should have just simply said, hey, I asked you something over there, you didn't do it. But she just goes on, oh, I'm sick of this, I'm sick of that, I'm sick of your control, blah, blah, this. And then she proceeds to push him on the street. Now, keep in mind, Mahmoud is clearly someone that is about a social image, right? As we're saying, he's fronting for these cameras. So if he's fronting from the cameras, what makes you think that you can go now publicly in front of the midst of everyone and create a scene in his country, right? So she proceeds to push him, and he snatches her arm real quick, like, don't you ever do that to me. Yes, Nicole, here's the thing. You are not in America, and you are dealing with a Muslim man, and a Muslim man in any country is not going to have you put their hands on them. Point blank, period. That look he gave her was like, girl, if these cameras wasn't here, don't you ever. He was like, an Egyptian woman would never do what she just did. totally repulsed by what she did. I was also repulsed by it as well, because you cannot go putting your hands and pushing people and so forth. So yeah, so she decides that, you know what, I'm going to stick around. He's like, listen, if I get back in this Uber, we're divorcing. Y'all say this every episode. Please divorce, because the rest of us are truly, truly over it. We are over it. Okay. So yeah, so that's like basically the end of this episode. I want to hear everyone's thoughts on it. Do you think that Nicole lost her mind when she put her hands on him with the push? Or do you think that, you know, Mahmoud should chill out a little bit? Do you think that Mahmoud is fronting for these cameras? Because I 100% believe so. And do you think that, you know, Jamie should tell her family before she marries Chris? Or, you know, we just mind our business? Let me know you guys' comments, your thoughts. You know, like, comment, and subscribe, the usual. Love you guys. I will speak with you later. Bye.